the, I guess, first version of a RESI Life Science Tools panel. So you'll be seeing kind of the first dry run of this. I hope you enjoy it. Just for background, my name is David Cruikshank, the Large Venture Partners, and I'm joined here by a distinguished panel of industry insider investors here, and I'll just let them go ahead and get started with introductions. So basically, if you could tell us who you are and what makes you unique, your investment characteristics, and good fun. Maybe Bill, over the side. Here you go.
So I'm Bill Hume, 30 years at UCSF in the Department of Lab Medicine. I started when I was 10. So part of my job is to help automate the clinical lab. So that means sort of figuring out automation, it's figuring out sort of the next multi-omics, specialty diagnostics, things that are sort of coming into the clinical lab testing. I've been in the field of cytometry development, so I've developed 8 or so commercial instruments and have started 8 companies and invested in others. I'm now segueing over into the venture world with Jenny Brooke at General Ventures. We invest at the intersection of biology and technology. So, we do that on purpose because we want to distinguish ourselves from therapeutics. We are really focused on the tools and the technologies that sort of drive life science products.
Next we'll go to Danielle. No. Tad Weems. I'm with Agilent. I'm the sole corporate VC on the board today. Corporates have a little different view of investment. We're looking for, most of us are looking for technology, and we're looking to, at some point in the future, have some kind of relationship with your company. So that's what makes us a little different. In our case, once we make the decision to be a strategic investor in you, we turn into a financial investor. And some strategics will ask for rights of first refusal or commercial rights, and others like us, we just make the investment and then follow on and try to help you as best we can in your success. But on the counter side, for someone like me in our situation, we can't promise a commercial relationship with anyone. We can make the introductions, but if you're looking to Agilent and Agilent Ventures for some kind of distribution channel, I can make those introductions, but I can't promise it because we're not looking for it on the other side. But we're also not asking you to commit to us. So that's a little short about strategic investing. Danny.
Danny, in the capital we are now deploying our third fund, $5 million. We invested both in the US and Europe. I'm from the European office in Lausanne, Switzerland. We have another office here at a good site in Silicon Valley. And most of you may know Indie Capital by our former name, Nanodimension. And this name comes from our first fund, which was devoted entirely on nanotechnologies. And in the second fund, we invested in physical and life sciences. And here we are investing physical life sciences, data sciences, and everything in between. So probably what we consider our specificity is that we have teams very strong in physical sciences, very strong in data sciences, in life sciences, people that have done a lot of those. And we are working together also to find opportunities in the convergence of these areas. And it's in the convergence of these areas that we find most of our tools.
So Daniela Krenjak, Dynamic Capital, and I think if you think about the panel, you have a pretty good subset of backgrounds here. Myself, over 20 years in the life sciences tools industry, starting out as an entrepreneur myself, basically a co-founder of Wave Biotech, exiting that business to GE Healthcare, subsequently putting time in side. So having the corporate venture experience and business development experience from GE Healthcare, life sciences where we did a number of acquisitions and integrations. That really informed what Capital has become, which is really centered on life science industrials. So any of the fundamental tools, tech, services that enable biotech and pharma, right? Whether they achieve commercial regulatory approval or not, we are those fundamental, we invest in those fundamental tools and tech. We do that through a team that's based in New York. We are all industry executives, experienced, team of 5, and some of whom you might know as well, former Sartorius, former CMC Biologics, former ATC Biologics, experience there, and we round out our team with obviously a group of advisors that we rely on pretty heavily. We do have our first fund. We are actively investing. We actually have several portfolio companies already, one more which ought to be closing in perhaps a day or 2 or 3. We'll see. And that's really a little bit about what we do. But we're really specific, coming from an informed place about biologics production, cell and gene therapies, because we in our own lives have actually done that, and we're coming from that experience, informing us about some of the pain points that biotech, pharma experience in these different areas. And so we're really keen on any of those technologies that increase access for patient therapies, reduce cost, or speed discoveries, and that's pretty straightforward.
And I'll just put a little pitch in for Arch. So David quickly with Arch. I'm based in Chicago. That's where Arch got started. We're a 30-year-old venture capital fund, so I've been around the block for a while. Been involved in more than 200 companies getting started. And we like to be the kind of first institutional capital into a company. We've grown up over the years, so we're on our 10th fund now, which is about a $750 million fund. So we have a fair amount of money to deploy, and so we're looking for big opportunities in big markets, big industry to disrupt. And the types of companies that we're involved in nowadays is primarily the life sciences, and that's therapeutics as well as tools and diagnostics, and a little bit on the aesthetic side and synthetic biology. So these are some of the spaces that we've been involved in. And I guess myself personally, I've been involved in all of this except for the therapeutic side. We like to be on the board of directors. We like to help guide company strategy and try to be good citizens and try to get companies out to a successful exit. Hopefully in a kind of 5 to 7 year time frame. That's what we shoot for. That's ours. Okay, great. So maybe we'll move on to more of the meat of the panel here. Hear a little bit about what folks think about in terms of how you can present yourself to us and be successful in fundraising. Because if you're not fundraising, you're probably you're missing something. Because pretty much all the time that you're out there, you need to be thinking about fundraising if you're not actively fundraising. So I'd like to ask the panel maybe if you could give some advice to an entrepreneur. How do they stand out if they're approaching you, and how maybe specifically can they get your money? I guess we started with Bill last time, so we'll start with Danielle this time.
That's a tough question. Everyone wants to know that, right? Starting off with this question, I'm sure everyone's going to have a little bit different insight, different experience. What I can tell you about what we look for, people who are obviously prepared, and if I could just wrap that up and know what you want. We talk to a lot of different entrepreneurs who, are sort of pitching different business models, maybe not sure how much they want to raise, maybe not sure who they want as a partner, really do some deep thinking about that before you contact one of us, I think is probably sound advice, because we're going to ask you all of those obnoxious questions that you don't want to hear. So if you are thinking about questions that you don't want to have asked, better be prepared and be ready with an answer for it. So, and that works both ways, right? Well, not all of us have to raise money, but some of us do have to raise money ourselves. And so I think, we see that and we sort of look for that preparedness. It's fine for business models to evolve, adapt with market conditions and, with knowledge that you find, and that's fair. So there can be natural sort of potential different pathways for your businesses, but, if you're too scattered and unfocused, that becomes a real issue for us to understand where you're going with the business.
Ben?
Difficult question. I would like to answer two aspects. One is how to approach VCs and others is the quality of the pitch. How to approach VC is not an easy one, right? Because we see so many teams, so many deals, so many. It's difficult to pop out of the box. But I would say that for us at least what is very, very important is the trust that we have on those teams and how much do we know the people. So I think it's a good way to start building the relationship with a proper investor, the one that is going to like your project, is focusing on the strategy is the right one, the fit is the right one, not every investor is a good one for every project and vice versa. Start building the relationship early on, long before the day that you have to invest the money. Now, regarding the pitch, what we look at is four things, right? What's the problem that the team is trying to solve? What's the solution? Who's going to do it and how? The problem is the market, right? What is the need in the market? It should be well defined, it should be big. The solution is obviously the product, how competitive it is, how appropriate for the solution. Who is the team? Very important, as I said, that we trust the capacity of these people, that they can work together, that we can work together. And the last but not least, probably the most important is the how. What's the route to exit, right? We're always thinking about the exit. How are we going to get our money back? What's the plan? How much money and how much time it's going to take?
That's it. So, as a strategic investor, when you approach us a little differently. Well, you will probably approach us exactly the same as you approach everyone else. But what's important to us is the technology. So, technology first, because that's what we're investing in. If everything goes to hell, which we hope it doesn't for you all, and the technology is great, it provides us an opportunity to get the technology. I mean, that's pretty blunt, but it does happen now. But so when you come to us, we're also pretty arrogant. We think we know our markets. So if you come to us with a pitch that says, this is a $2 billion market, and we're going to sell toothpicks into it, and we know that. Generically tell us where you're going, but it's that technology, what background you have in the technology, what data you have in the technology. And I think one of like everyone else, we have to trust you as a team. So be honest with us as a stage. There's 17,000 people in Agilent. Chances are I'm going to call someone else if it sounds interesting to me who's an expert in the field, and they're going to tell me whether it's BS or not, because I always do that. So the note says, is this a perpetual motion machine? And if they come back and say yes, then we're out. So be honest at the stage you are. And if you haven't started, that's fine with us. But after that, it's the relationship building, and there has to be some trust between us. Don't come to us and say, sign my CDA or NDA, or else I'm not going to talk to you, because I'm not going to talk to you if you do that. And I think that's kind of the same across the board. Yeah. If the first thing out of your mouth is sign this NDA, there's no relationship there as far as I'm concerned. The other thing, and we haven't gotten to this yet, but all of us say no a lot. Accept the no, all right? Don't keep coming back again and again. It's painful for us and it's painful for you because you're not going to change that no today. You might change it next year when you come back to us again and we'll listen again. And if the data's changed, or in our case, Agilent has changed, we'll hear you out and it might be a positive after that. But I think last year we counted, we looked at over 750 companies. We talked to 750 companies. We did 4 new deals. So the odds are pretty long, all right? Thanks. Don't know if anyone, if you disagree.
No, I'll echo everything my co-panelists have said. I've actually been on the asking side of the table more than I've been on this side of the table. And it's tough on both sides of the table, to be honest. I think from, there's a desire to sort of stand out. I will echo the preparedness piece though. You can walk in with purple hair, but, and make yourself sort of stand out that way, but it's really the data and the technology that's going to talk for you. And I think sometimes it's a good exercise to put yourself on this side of the table. Think as a venture investor, what does a venture investable thesis look like? How do you get to the $100 million market or $500 million market? How do you work backwards from a Series C to a Series B to your seed series or your seed funds that you're sort of asking for? What does that prepared plan look like for your company? And that's a hard exercise. And if you're a platform technology with 1,000 different options, choosing which vertical markets you're going to go into is sometimes a tricky business in terms of which business you can do. And there's something called the strap analysis, where you sort of look at your best assets. Who are the people that you've got? Who are the KOLs that you know? Who are your mentors? And how can you best implement your technology? And it may not be into the most lucrative market. So you sort of have to think about how you're going to execute. I think just to sort of echo some of what has been said, it's don't take no as a no, but understand sometimes before you leave the room what they might be looking for so that you can come back with that data if that data so happens to present itself later. And I have been with companies that I met 3 years ago and didn't invest then, but sort of followed along and have invested now because they made those incremental steps, they made those improvements. So don't get discouraged. It's a crazy ass roller coaster ride, and once you get on it, you're on it. But it can be a lot of fun too at the end. So, anyway, my 2 cents.
I'd also ask that it's a numbers game on your side as well. So we're all tools people, but we don't all invest in the same thing, and we do share ideas with each other because we're in the same general field. But if it doesn't work for me, that doesn't mean that it's not going to work for Bill or Daniela or Danny or David. So,
Yeah, team building. So actually, there's a little bit of self-recognition. If you're a tool guy and you've been used to playing in the lab and adding a laser and putting a button and fixing a widget, but you haven't done a business development, recognize that. And so think about how you're going to build your team out as well. That also goes along with that Series ABC thing, but team building, thinking about that strategy. And I like hearing that. Hey, I'm going to need a CBO in 18 months. I'm going to need a CTO next week. I don't know how to do AI, but I'm going to need that person.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great perspectives here. I'll add my own. So the best way to reach out to one of us is have somebody do it for you. The trusted introduction is always the best way to reach us. And in terms of kind of what we look for kind of a standout opportunity, we're mainly looking for team, technology, and markets. That's kind of like the first filter. And so, is the team appropriate to the technology and the market that's being pursued, right? So, you don't want to have a kind of therapeutic CEO trying to, work on a tool if the end customer is not a therapeutic, it's not a pharma company. So you just want to have alignment between all three of those things. And then, the technology itself needs to be protected, have to have the IP around it. A lot of these markets are very litigious, so you want to have, strong IP to defend your position, certainly freedom to operate. And then on the market side, you need to recognize the type of capital that you're looking for. Is it a small fund? Is it a big fund? Big funds obviously need larger market opportunities associated with them. So recognize that as you're kind of deciding who you want to try to attract capital from. And then also recognize what stage of capital you're looking, that the investor that you're talking to. Because we're early stage. I think a lot of my colleagues here are early stage, but there's some capital, some people are later stage. So don't talk to a later stage person until you're a later stage yourself, because you're probably just wasting your time. You could, obviously develop a relationship that way, and say, in the future, maybe at some point, it'll make sense for us to talk in a more substantive way, But anyway, don't actually, don't trust the capital from somebody who is not going to, is not stage appropriate to you. So really doing your homework and understanding the types of companies that the capital that we're looking for, and the appropriate stage, and also appropriate involvement. Some of us will lead a deal, some of us only want to follow a deal. And so also recognize that and what you need, from the capital that you're looking for. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay. I don't know if there's any questions, any of that? Are we all good? Oh yeah, good. Yeah, go ahead.
So, the gentleman in the second from the right indicated, that's you.
Oh.
Indicated that your deal flow that you actually look at and talk to actually get deals done is
100 to 1. 100 plus to 1.
so. Oh, it's way more than that. You said you did.
I said we did 4 new.
200 at 750.
Pardon?
At
750 plus, and we did 4, so 200 to 1.
Okay. That question for each of you. From an entrepreneur's perspective, 200 to 1 is a low odds. It might be better if we're talking with somebody else who has 100 to 1 or 50 to 1.
I'll speak for Genoa. Genoa is actually a first-time fund, and we are exactly around that same number. So we've seen about 800 deals, and we've done 4.
Okay.
And we have a track record. We've been around, on the investment side for 25 years or so, but this is a first-time fund, and that deal flow is very strong and very steady. And it's,
Okay.
you only get that many shots on goal. Right?
Anybody have a better record than that? So what we're looking at as entrepreneurs is that sort of ratio. Okay.
But the positive note to that is there are 5 of us here, and so someone in this room might hit one of us. That's there.
Somebody might get lucky.
Yeah.
So, sorry, there were questions, but I just want to build on that. So one of the key things that we look for as a venture fund is really where we can also add value. So maybe just to frame it, right, it's not only about the capital. Capital is very important, incredibly important, but we also view the knowledge base, the network, the support, the guidance, the coaching, the commercial link-ups or introductions that we can help facilitate, the recruiting that you need to do. We actually, as a fund, we are very active investors. We're much more hands-on, and we do get very actively engaged with those portfolio companies. So, you know, when you view it like that holistically, we're also looking at opportunities where we can make a difference for that target. So maybe just to discern, you know, that 200 to 1, 150 to 1, what have you, that really kind of also helps to weed out, quite frankly, a lot of what we think are great opportunities, but maybe we can't make a big difference in the future of those companies, right? So that makes it a little bit more tough on our side.
How many of you at that seed stage, the technical and academic founders, CEO?
I'm sorry?
How
I think
many
the
of
question
you
is-
at the seed stage of the company, the technical and academic founders, CEO?
So Genoa does that, and so we like to leverage actually some of that early interest. So I'm on faculty at UC, and I came out of that space. So I really appreciate the entrepreneurial PI. They may not leave their academic nest. They may send their postdoc out to start that company or carry that IP out of the university. But that's a scenario I personally understand and like. So Genoa will often do that. And so example companies would be Mission Bio, which is a single cell genomics company. So I was the first investor with IP out of UC. Postdocs go with the company, and you know, and now it's off and running. Tad was part of that effort, right?
The fourth investor.
Right, and I will actually say we like to actually sometimes encourage. So we will see IP and then like that IP enough to say, hey, let's go make a company out of that. And so that was done at UC Berkeley. So there's been a couple of instances where you know, there's enough technology to sort of drive that.
We do that also. It's actually most of what we do. Seed and Series A, a lot of seeds. A lot of seeds, I was saying. Building the companies with the academics, with the founders. Very often there's no management team on those projects, so we have to bring the management team. It is one of the things that we bring, right, that are much more important than the money itself. Relationships, people, etc. Actually, on the rare cases where we invest later on, Series B, C, or D, is because it's one company that we have been following from the beginning, and we didn't invest at the beginning, and then later on we realized that we were wrong, and then we invest later on.
Yeah, and one more thing about the academic PI company. For us, we are involved with a lot of those, but our preference is for the company to have a commercial CEO. The academic leader would be kind of an advisor to the company, but typically not running the company, because usually the skill set for running the research lab is different from running the company. So that's our preference would be.
So I asked the question.
Would be typically to, yeah, we prefer a commercial CEO.
And we do a mix. It depends on who that founder is and what they realize about themselves. And that's, you don't come into us and give us a business plan and we give you money. There's a lot of discussion that happens before any of us are willing to do that at these very early stages. And it's the self-actualization, if you will, of that founder, what they realize they're good at, what they realize they're not good at, and we look at that very carefully. And most of the time, they understand that they're not going to be able to take this the whole way, but they want to take it to a certain point.
Yeah, so sometimes there's a frank discussion about, you know, at some point, we'll bring in a CEO and state the program.
Because that's one of the, as board members, I think one of our worst jobs is replacing a CEO who doesn't want to go, but it's time for them to go. And that's very difficult.
Okay, maybe move on to the next question. So here we're talking about the life science tool industry, maybe some prognostications about where the industry is going, some top challenges you might see in the industry, any opportunities, and Ted, I'll start with you this time.
Short straw. So we're again, this is a view from Agilent. So bioprocessing, we see a lot of opportunities in bioprocessing in that scenario that we're looking at really carefully. Obviously, genomics, genome editing, anything that can, for us again, from a technology basis, we look at it from a perspective of anything that can kick our ass in the marketplace. If you have an instrument that can beat one of our instruments, we'd be very interested in talking to you and investing in it, because we want to be part of that. We don't want someone else to be. Short story. When I was called in when we started this group about 6 years ago, and the CEO said to me that he was tired of the first time he sees some of these small companies is when our competitors acquired them, and so he said that's why he's forming this group, so that we're out there, we understand what's out there, and we can help those companies grow. And if it's in the direction that Agilent's going in, fine. If it's in some other directions, that's fine too. But we want to help these companies grow and these technologies succeed.
So self-preservation.
Self-preservation.
All right, Dan, you want to go ahead and
So, I don't know, I don't have a crystal ball to know where the industry is going, but there's no doubt that the healthcare industry in general is growing, that pharma industry is very interested in automatizing a lot of care processes, laying out, in some cases, unfortunately, but this goes with new technologies they need to improve their productivity on R&D, no doubt. And every tool that can help them with that is
Maybe I'll jump in. The way we see it, I see this as really kind of the golden age of life science industrials right now. We are in an incredible time. If I think back across the 20 years that I've been in the industry and where we were as a business at Wave, how that sort of got adopted, bioprocessing, where that has come in the last 20 years, cell and gene therapies and regen med and where that's headed. There's so much to be done, and it just feels like an incredible amount of energy around those challenges. Without the crystal ball and the collective, we all try to find technologies that will kick Tad's ass. But besides that, I mean, we actually take a pretty interesting approach because we've been living in bioprocessing for this long. So we have a good, deep understanding of similar companies to Tad's that have gaps, that have holes in their portfolio, in their offering. When we see technologies that are, highly disruptive to those incumbent players, and we're particularly interested in those. So not to get into the weeds of what we do and don't do, but there are a lot of areas of opportunity here when you think about the major life sciences players, who would be acquirers. That's part of our analysis, right, when we look at targets as well. So just to give a little bit of insight there.
Yeah, same. Any technology that kicks Tad's ass. It's a theme.
And everyone here has found them, so.
So it's the DNA synthesizer that fits in your cup holder, and it's it's something that's adds some efficiency or some sort of course, some sort of breakthrough. I'll throw some general themes out there. I like this sort of term, human augmentation. So we're in this world of multi-omics, and so as you start to think about, how you create data, how you use data, we need new tools around AI, machine learning, quantum computing, and all of that is sort of pushing us faster. And one of the things that sort of carries on from that is that we have these technology literate people, but what we're really switching to now is people literate in technology. I hope that made sense, but we're sort of making a transition in there. So you want to get the sample in, it's going to do its magic, it's got the firmware, it's got everything, and something's going to come out at the end that's going to improve patient health. And that might be consumer facing, it might be a new device, it might be a new software, it might be something, but those are the kinds of themes that I like or see. Automation we've already sort of talked about. And so I can go on and on, but that's sort of the general thing with that.
Great. And I'll just add a couple thoughts. The life science tool industry is pretty much kind of running along here at a nice little clip. We recently had a great kind of bump up in the interest in the industry because of 10x. Genomics went public, huge valuation. So there's actually a lot more interest right now in this space. It's actually a good time to raise some money, frankly. And it's also an industry which is consolidating. It's been consolidating for a while. It looks like it's going to continue consolidating. And big players like Thermo and Agilent and other folks they're always looking to bolt on new acquisitions. And so we're always thinking about the exit whenever we make an investment. And so like you talked about, we're looking for the plugs that they have, pieces of the pie that they don't own, which could be big markets in the future. And I guess another thought is, for us, like when we look for an opportunity in the tools industry, we're looking for kind of multiple areas of kind of 10x kind of improvements over existing technologies. Not like just one. We're not looking just for cost, and we're not looking just for performance. We're looking for both, as well as a great team. So we're looking for multiple areas of excellence. That makes a great opportunity for us. So that kind of concludes the prepared questions. If you have questions out there, then you should let us know what they are. Go ahead.
Thanks. Good question. What happens when you're developing something that doesn't exist? You're going to create a new capability for laboratories or pharmaceutical development that currently does not exist. So you don't have to market comps, you don't have to compare with competitive technologies. You're going to create something and there's a niche for it, and it's really interesting to pharmaceutical developers, drug companies, et cetera. So what do you do next?
Okay, so basically the question is, what do you do when you have the technology, which is basically creating a new industry, a new capability?
New capability.
Yeah. Okay. Allison wants to jump in.
We love it.
I hate it.
So it is good luck. It is really rough. As you probably know if you've done that. It's because it's hard for corporates, if you will, to wrap their head around this new market. And we see the ideas constantly, but it's hard for us to wrap our heads around how we can use this through our distribution channel. If you're changing our distribution channel and changing the technology, that's really rough for a large company to make those transitions. If you're changing a business model with existing technology, we can kind of understand that. If you're changing the technology and can push it through our sales and marketing, we understand that. But changing both simultaneously, that's really tough for us.
I think it's certainly maybe hard to see how that's going to fit into a company that exists. And if you're changing workflows completely, yeah, maybe it's an opportunity. But I think for us to pay attention to it, speaking on behalf of Dynamic, we would want to probably see that manifest in a co-dev or some kind of really strong customer engagement that validates they are fed up with, not to pick on tech, they're fed up with the existing process, and they want to do something, differently, and they're incentivizing you, engaging with you to do that. That is powerful. Then we have an easier time understanding, getting our heads around that. And so it may not be a large company that goes for it, but it might be a smaller company who then would see value in that. So I think that's important, and proof points, right? Just that proof of concept, that proof point that the market is drawing on that. So maybe that helps.
Right, yeah, proving there's a need, this is very important.
Yeah, I was going to echo the workflow thing is critical. So if you can articulate the workflow, and your workflow is educatable, if you can teach people that new workflow or that new process, then you've got a real leg up, and then people will start to understand how that's going to help improve their process or whatever that is.
But none of you said we're at chat, so that's the big question.
So, depending on what that looks like, that's the kind of effort that my venture group would like to do. So we do seed, early stage, we'll even take a very early position if we believe in that technology and the team and the IP and all the other pieces. But it'll be benchmark. You will have milestones, and you won't get the next check unless you meet that milestone. Yeah.
Staged risk.
Staged, very staged. Yeah.
I think that the other thing that you probably would like to think about is what I said before, what is the route to exit? The product is going to be very difficult to sell to a corporate, but then you have to prepare yourself, the kind of investors, the kind of building the company towards an IPO. Right? Most probably.
Okay, other questions? Are we thirsty?
There's almost time for drinks.
Yeah.
There's time for one more question if anyone
Yeah.
has one.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. All right.